Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Earth Rising. We've got a show for you. We're doing some fun stuff. I can't talk today. Oh my gosh. We got some fun stuff for you folks. I'm Michele Amburgey. I'm the Awakener. I am a psychic medium, healer, person of awakening, ascension stuff. And it's so fun to be here. So happy to be here. And of course, always Sharon and I are here together, co-shenanigators. And so, Sharon, take it away.
Michele, I think you're in that Egyptian goddess mode, like you were talking about earlier. What was her name again?
Sashat. Sashat.
Who was
I
it?
am Sashat, the marijuana plumed goddess of Egypt. But more on that later.
Yes. Okay. Thank you everyone for being here. I am Sharon Sanana Kumara, and I'm also a psychic medium. And I'm really happy today because we have some cool stuff that we're going to talk about. As always.
I mean, this show is amazing. So make sure you share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification buttons. Let people know what good stuff is going on over here.
That's right. Yeah. All right. We were thinking of talking about the fact that do we live in a computer simulation?
Do
right?
we?
Do we?
Was the Matrix movie a documentary or just a piece of entertainment?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
Sharon
it.
came up with some amazing information, blew my mind away. I was looking at it, I'm like, yeah. And all of a sudden it clicked in my head. I'm like, whoa. So tell us about that, Sharon, because that is really cool.
Yeah, well, I do believe, and I know that our audience is very smart, very aware, and probably already knows that we are holographic and we live in a holographic type of holographic reality, basically.
Yep.
That we live in a matrix. We have our own matrices, our own matrices as well that we create around us, and so we live that way anyway. And I can attest to the fact that we do live in a matrix because I actually saw it with my own physical eyes, real time in a grocery store.
Whoa.
I believe I've shared this. Yeah, this was like 20 years ago or so. And I was fasting and meditating. No drugs or alcohol were involved.
This time.
Yeah, right. But it was at a time where I'd stopped partying and I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just meditating, and it was after my near-death experience, and I was just meditating and fasting. I was in a grocery store and just doing my thing, and all of a sudden everything disappears. The reality that we are we're projecting, and it's projected around us, disappears, and I see the blue-green grid lines. That's it. It lasted about 3 seconds, 2.5, 3 seconds, I would say.
Yeah, it's like a bloop.
And it was long enough for me to freak out. Well, to say,
yeah, whoa.
Yeah.
I had a very similar thing, which is why I understood that there were grids around people. It got me started on what are these grids? What is it? And got me into sacred geometry because I was doing healing work on someone and my hands all of a sudden started doing this weird thing. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Wow. Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it like this thing opened up like bloop, 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 and all, of course happened rapidly. Bloop, 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 and I saw red and yellow and green grid lines, like all, and I saw some of them broken. And then I saw them coming together, but it was in a flash, just like poof, like that.
Wow.
Like, oh my God.
So you saw it. Yeah. I know it really rocks your world when you don't know what's going on.
And I wasn't on drugs either, by the way.
Yep. See,
later I was, but not then. No, I'm kidding.
And when that happens, sometimes you have to turn to drugs. Like, whoa, no, I'm kidding. So,
but we don't recommend it.
No, unless it's plant medicine and a sacred ceremony or something like that,
Yeah, and that's always cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, but cool. It is. We are definitely living within a something. And there are other things at hand. And, I was thinking when you were talking, Sharon, I was thinking about, okay, so if we're in a hologram Everything's holographic. What's creating the hologram?
Right.
And I kind of think that's what you tapped into
Right.
that we're going to talk about, because it was
Right.
just all of a sudden, it's like, I kind of almost had this vision, like a beam me up Scotty thing, like we're standing in the middle of our hologram, right? And we're experiencing and interacting with this beam that's like a hologram, but there's a technology underlying it. Not necessarily, something hard. It can be an etheric,
Right.
energetic technology.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I think you presented
biological kind of stuff. Well, I'd seen this photo a few years ago, and it blew me away, but I didn't want to think about it because it's just so crazy. And I've been reading the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson. And it's he put together the Emerald Tablets, Thoth, the Emerald Tablets written by Thoth, and
Thoth, Toth, Toth.
yeah, I'm sure he doesn't care what we call him as long as we call him. Like my dad used to say, I don't care what you call me as long as you call me, but as long as you don't call me late for dinner.
Right.
So it's really blowing my mind, and I love it. And there was a page on here showing, and I'm going to bring up a better photo because you can't really see it on here. Computer motherboard, and some people out here may have seen it, compared to the Mayan pyramids at the complex of Teotihuacan in Mexico.
We were trying to figure out how to say it.
I tried.
Teotihuacan.
Yeah.
Which is probably not right, but we got all the syllables in.
Yeah.
So we get points for that.
Yeah. Hopefully you're sitting down when you see this, because this is crazy.
Everybody sit down right now.
Sit down right now. Okay, hold on to something. This is a motherboard, the top. This is the pyramids at Teotihuacan in Mexico, the ancient complex of Teotihuacan.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And we know that there's motherboards for all different kinds of things. And so do we know what this and the one at the top is the one that we have like in our computers, right?
Right.
If we know what this is a motherboard for, is it for a part of a computer? Is it something that's in a car part? I mean, I'm sure
I don't know, but in the book here, Teotihuacan is translated to mean the city of the gods. This complex is translated to mean the city of the gods. So I would say this is probably the motherboard for a PC or something like that, just a PC.
Right.
Is the way I understand it.
Communication.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
I know. And that is crazy.
I mean, even look like the little three dots at the bottom. On the left-hand side at the bottom part, it's got one little dot there, and then it's got the three. I mean, it's so
these right
detailed. Here.
Yeah. So what does this tell us? This could be that this tells us that so the motherboard of a computer, it's all about communication, right?
Right.
Computers are all about communication, communicating with each other.
Processing information,
communicating it to the other parts of the computer. So this down here, this complex, what is the communications all about? It is about communicating to the higher planes, communicating around the world, or both. Do other pyramid complexes have similar types of layouts?
Right.
Like, some other kind of a computer type of layout.
Right.
If
And
this is a
also,
motherboard, go ahead.
oh, and also, if this is a complex of the gods,
Yes.
general consensus that we understand now is that God is within as well as without.
Mhm.
So is this a complex, a technology that is connecting the God within to the expanded God,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Because it's almost like, especially with the pyramid stuff, you know, we know pyramids hold energy, they transmute energy, they create energy, they work with the electromagnetic energies of the earth, they work with the Schumann resonance, and they build. And one of the things that I've learned, I don't know different shapes and everything, but they build energy up to the peak and send it out, and also receive it in and distribute it onto the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that right. And I mean, that's kind of how a computer motherboard works.
Right.
It brings that electrical current and taps into all these how- I mean,
Like points of energy.
yes, thank you, that are sending signals to all different areas on the motherboard. So that what that tells me is this is just so freaking powerful
Yeah.
with communication, and more than we could ever imagine when these were built, what they are for
And what they're doing.
and what they're doing. Yeah.
And are they human? Because that's the other thing. Nobody's ever figured out how they're built yet,
Right.
or how
Yeah.
they're built to such specific connection to the stars. Right.
Exactly. And so my next question is, okay, when whoever invented the computer, the motherboard of a computer, did they base it on that? Or was it just information that that they had um downloaded to them kind of thing?
Or are they the ETs that know this technology that came in to create the computer technology we have today?
There you
Who,
go.
who is that? Not Bill Gates, but the other guy, Jobs,
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Jobs. Yeah.
Isn't he the one that started all that stuff?
I don't, Apple, you mean? I don't know. Macintosh, I guess he started with Macintosh.
I am going to look that up because we have technology.
We do.
Who created the first motherboard?
And you were talking about while you're doing that, I'll just continue speaking. You were talking about crops, crop circles.
Yeah.
And what I got as you were, because we were talking before we came on, just bringing up all kinds of really cool stuff. And how there's so much in the crop circles that are giving us information about what lies in our I've felt for a long time now that we're biological computers, right?
Yeah.
We're a computer system.
Yeah.
So if we are, then isn't our reality also set up
Yeah.
that way? Yeah.
And two, why are some of these beings on this planet hell bent on making us all AI too?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like they want to be tapping into that because that exists there already. Check this out. You want to know who invented the motherboard? Here's
Yes.
one for the girls. In 1981, IBM planar breadboard was the first motherboard used in a PC. The inventor behind this technology was IBM engineer Patty McHugh.
Nice.
Let's hear it for the girls.
Girls.
Woo! Ooh, I'm getting
Of
chills.
course. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier too.
Now
We're
we need
gonna-
to find out if Patty McHugh was an ET.
I'm sure she had information from ETs some way, somehow. We get it all the time. We just don't recognize it that way.
Yeah.
But back to the crop circles, I
Yes.
believe that because we were talking about our DNA, and they're giving us hints about our DNA as well. And going back to our bodies being biological computers, I could put this out in some kind of way where it makes any sense. I believe that what I've understood and what I understand is that our DNA is actually a recorder, right? The mRNA part of our DNA is a messenger, is the
Ooh.
messenger and sends out the signals. Our DNA is a recorder, which records information that we bring in, information about our body, memories and things like that. That's why when we come back in these biological computers, we have our DNA to record our soul memories. It's
So when we
there.
come back into this body, the soul imbues itself into the DNA.
Yes.
Ooh.
It's like uploading our software or downloading our software to our hardware.
And then we only, because we've been messed with, we're not using the full 12 strands of DNA.
Right.
So when our soul uploads or imports, I've been doing audio files, so we're importing, it only has the 2 strands. Some of us have like 4 strands activated now. You know, we're beginning to heal a lot of that, but we don't have all the strands, which is why we don't remember everything.
Yeah. And then, you see all over the place, they're just showing us 2 strands. I mean, that's a programming. That's programming. When I see DNA, I always just see 2 strands. That's all. We have 12. Or
rumor has
least.
it we actually have 352.
Okay. All right. Well,
but
there you go.
But we right now have the 12.
Yeah.
It's biologically within the body.
So that would be this human body. Yeah. Okay. So you're talking about 352. Would that be a different type of body? Because I hadn't heard that.
It is the original God or the original divine blueprint.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
Okay. So our angelic
parts
body of us, because we are angelic.
Our Adam Kadmon body.
Right.
Which we are connected to through this holographic platform on which we express ourselves.
Right.
That sounded ET right there.
That was good. I like that. Yeah. Because we are angelic. That memory has been taken from us. And so it's time we remember. Yeah. That's why I've had so many memories of my wings being clipped. Oh,
yes. When I finally jumped out of the corporate world and into the spiritual and doing all of this stuff, what pushed me over the edge is I'm walking through, I was an accountant in a legal firm. So I was in a legal firm that was embedded into the Catholic Church. We actually had a chapel in the firm. Everybody went to chapel every Thursday afternoon. It was really cool. I loved it because I love experiencing all that stuff. So we had that wonderful spirituality there, right? And so like I am deep in the belly of the beast, and I had started taking Reiki and learning Reiki, and I was printing some stuff out, and I turned and walking down the hallway, and they're big, wide hallways, and all of a sudden I'm feeling like there's something tickling my back, but I can hear something whoosh, along the walls, and I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, sorry. And so I'm walking and I'm feeling it again. All of a sudden I'm feeling like it's, oh my God, it's something is touching me. And I went back and I sat in my chair really quick. I was like, oh my God. And I got a vision of my wings completely unfurled and spread out behind me and rubbing on the walls as I was walking down the hall. And I went, all right, that's it. I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. Wow. I can't stay here anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome. We are. And, I study that chelantic science, and one of the things that they teach, and in the Talmud of Emmanuel, he talks about how the archangels are the creator gods, that they're part of the Elohim, which are the ones that created us and created this whole reality for us / with us, because we are angels.
Yeah.
And he even talks about how his father, God, is actually Archangel Gabriel. because the archangels are actually that tied into that whole
creation.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? And he
That
says
is.
there's a difference between what the creative force and the ones that use the creative force to actually create, the LOM and the archangels. Isn't that fascinating?
Wow. Yes, I love this stuff.
I know there's so much information that is just bubbling up in everybody now. And old books are coming to light, and it's just like,
Right. We were talking
whoa.
about that is when you mentioned the Talmud of Emmanuel, I have not read that, so I'm going to buy it. But I just ordered the 2 books of the Old Testament. It's called the Sudi Pigraph by James Charlesworth, where this is what has been written out of the Old Testament or taken out of the Old Testament. It talks about the true story, apparently, of the galactic wars. It's like the Enoch books, I guess. And that's another part. I have that Enoch, the book of Enoch too, which I haven't read yet. But I'm just feeling so drawn to catching up on our history more and more.
Yeah. Well,
and
it
take with what
is.
I take with what resonates for sure.
Well, yeah, exactly. And there's like everything that we have,
Right.
even it shows up, an example we have so much is so many different religions that are teaching things in so many different ways, but at the apex of it all, it's kind of basically the same thing.
Right. And there's all
That's
kinds of
what we're
ways to the
getting
top of the
to.
mountain, right? And I
And
was go
and the
ahead.
story goes to the victor. So some people, like we were talking about Toth, and some of the teaching, like the Keylontic teachings, Toth isn't such a good guy. My heart says that he is, because I worked with him
Yeah.
for a very long time and have a really deep connection with him.
Share
But-
that about Atlantis that you shared with me. if you don't
about
mind.
Sashat,
Uh-huh.
I had an experience when I was working with the selenite swords. The gentleman that creates those things is like, woo, he is not from this planet. Wonderful man. His name is Tom Leder, Ledder, for anybody who's interested. And he was talking about this stuff. Well, he had created he uses resin and blessings and crystals and all that kind of stuff. And he made an emerald tablet with the writing and everything on it. He said it cost him like so much money to make it, and time and everything, that it like wasn't something that you could buy. Yeah. So when we were meditating, we were all meditating together. We were in a class learning about this stuff, and he had the emerald tablet there. Well, I was just like, I'm like wanted to just put it in my shirt and just hold it. And in this meditation, I was in Atlantis with some of the high gods, and Toth was there, and they said, you need to go with Toth, and you can't. Oh, it was Lemuria, actually. It was from Lemuria. And I was with Adama, who is actually my father. And so he said, you have to go with Toth. You can't go into the mountain. You're not to go. You are to go with Toth. So we went with Toth, went to Atlantis, did that thing, and then went from Atlantis at the sinking into Egypt. And I had a dream one night that I was a priestess, and I was working with Toth, and we were like teaching them about magic, or teaching them about medicine, or teaching them how to write. And I was doing a lot of the writing and stuff like that. And within a couple of days of that dream, someone had said, have you ever heard of the goddess Sashat? And I went, I think I have. And he said it was someone that worked with Toth, that was either his sister or his wife. But who knows how that all worked back then. But it was one of the early priestess goddesses. And the funny thing is, she has like this like supposed to be a palm tree on top of her head, but it's a 5-pointed, looks like a marijuana leaf. I was a medicine goddess, if you'll know what I mean.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
Wink.
Well, that is medicine, plant medicine.
That
for
totally
sure,
is medicine.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. So I have that really, really strong connection to Toth, to the teachings, and like a long history with that whole thing. And so it's interesting. And
That's
it's
very
what's
cool.
interesting with that too is I feel like it's like there was no death in that whole time.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like it was a continuity. It's like we didn't die and come back and die and come back.
Right.
That is such a ridiculous. Whoever came up with that whole thing.
The bad ETs. But he
Oh
talks
God.
about that in the Emerald Tablets, and I know I'm pushing his book, but it's really good. Because it's really good. And I'm not getting any money for this, nothing, I'm just, I
But
don't even know the guy. But
well, and when we start learning about the galactic wars, we start finding what the bad
yes,
ETs have been doing that have
yes,
trapped us in here. It's all about stargates.
right. And he talks about the Hall of Amentes. Well, Thoth talks about the Hall of Amenti in the Great Pyramid of Giza, where when they wanted to leave their body, it was time for them to leave their body after 500,000-600,000 years or whatever. They'd go to the halls of Amenti,
Yeah.
and their soul would travel, and then they would come back and either get a new body, use that body to get a new body. And he talks about it in here, and in his on the tablets, the halls of Amenti.
Yeah. Yep.
Amenti. I had heard of them, but I didn't know what it was. So that goes along with what you're saying, definitely. And I remember, I'm interrupting myself, but with Toth,
so good.
I know with Toth, I thought, oh, he's cool, bird head. Yeah, he must be some kind of high ET or something, maybe he's an avian or whatever. But I never opened up that door, and I think it's because I have a lot of emotion involved with it, so it takes something to trigger it.
Right.
And I remember when I was in the Temple on the Hill in this lifetime, I've told you about that, the Temple on the Hill, the psych ward.
Yep.
My guides call it Temple on the Hill. And I was in my room, and these were visions that were coming to me. I wasn't really meditating that much. I was in a constant meditation.
Right.
Where I was not here, I was there. And I was just laying on my bed in my room by myself, and I have this clear vision of being put into a sarcophagus. Oh, I'm getting energy talking about it. And then putting the lid on, and I'm being placed in there for some reason. And then this made me think of that experience, the halls of Amenti.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the final initiatory rites that you went into full, how they put it was like full godhead, like you became a god.
Yeah.
And that last thing was you got in the sarcophagus and you left your body. And if you had learned everything you're supposed to learn, you were wise to the point you would leave your body, you would gain the last big chunk of wisdom, and you'd be able to get back to your body to then walk the earth as a god. Well, a lot of people never made it back. I was one of them. And that's where there's like a big break in my eternality of all that stuff. And I don't know if it was when I was a shot or if it's something else. But it was in, I believe, the Great Pyramid, like up at the apex of the Great Pyramid.
The King's Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Yeshua went through that, I understand. And I've heard lots of stories about that, and he made it. Yeah. Of course, it's not in the Bible, but yeah.
Can you imagine if that was in the Bible? How cool would that be?
I know, right? So I must not have made it either, because although we know we're goddesses,
totally. Well, maybe that's what we're here doing now, is getting back to that point. Yeah. To where we're regaining all this information. Because look at this kind of stuff was not accessible or anywhere that people could get to it 5 years ago.
Right.
It was out there, but it wasn't mainstream. But now, with the internet, thank you, Patty Hughes or Mick Hugh. We have access to all this stuff.
Right.
There's books and people writing books and stuff you can buy on Amazon for $20, $30. I mean, whoa. And we're getting all of the information and all of it now. It's amazing.
It is. Yes. And I'm so glad it's happening. I mean, it's time. It's time. Definitely.
And it's all from that motherboard.
I was just going back to that. Yeah. Coming full circle. So we would love to know what you think about that motherboard. The idea that we live in a computer simulation. I've also had visions of me, my higher self, I guess you could call it, um, using some kind of a projector, projecting down into down to here,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and creating that reality. Whoops, that reality from that higher space.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of weird, but cool. So, you know, if we're in a computer simulation, um,
It's
what does
learning
that,
to use the computer.
what does, yes,
It's right here.
right.
All the ancient teachings are control your freaking mind, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So this is the what controls the computer. Oh, it's the motherboard.
it's the motherboard. So what does it mean? Why are these people here on the planet trying to hook us up to another, to
AI.
AI? Is it to try to hook us up to another motherboard, to one that is not our true uh, nature, our true creator, true infinite intelligence? And you know, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are they
Is that
trying to
the
hook us up
agenda?
back up to God, the real original God,
Right.
the Elohim? Or is there an agenda to tap us into their motherboard
Hmm.
to feed them?
Right.
Because like we were talking before, we are definitely energies that are used at this point. A lot of
Yeah.
people use the word harvested. I'm like, oh God, I hate that word.
I know. I've heard
But,
that. Yeah.
with the loosh and all that kind of stuff, it's like, we're definitely feeding into you had said earlier that we're like batteries, right? And feeding into something. And, I don't, and I heard someone call it the false light
We talked
AI.
about that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, we did.
We talked about
And,
that. Yes.
is that what it is? Or, is their agenda truly of good hearts? They think it is. They think they're really going to be helping mankind.
Hmm.
When you
Who?
listen to some of the talks from the WEF and all that kind of stuff, and you hear them talking, they talk like they really care.
Who's WEF?
World Economic Forum? No,
Oh,
the other one.
oh,
Is it the World
oh,
Economic Forum? It's one
pshaw.
of those ones. It's one of those three-lettered places.
I still
Um,
believe that they are on that agenda of depopulation. So I don't know if they're, I
yeah.
guess they're trying to help themselves, but I don't know, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's part of where these talks are coming out when there's people like Schwab and Gates and all those guys that are um talking about this. We're
Hmm.
talking about this AI system, AI system. We want the
IA.
IA system, independent access system. And 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 how good it's going to be and how wonderful it'll be for humanity, and how depopulating will make it so everybody is abundant and nobody'll have anything and you'll be happy,
Yeah.
that whole
You'll own
thing.
nothing and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, this metaverse thing, with using the virtual reality as your world. I saw a movie the other day. I don't know why I watched it the other night. I don't watch TV during the day, but it's called 2047. And it was 2047 in the future where people are connected. They called them the connected to virtual reality, where they weren't going out in the streets anymore. They were just in their virtual reality. They didn't live lives anymore. And there was a faction that was trying to disconnect people from the corporate
Ooh.
computers are um, that are uh, that these people are hooked up to. They're, you know, they sell all this, the programming, the software, everything, all the games, the gamers, the games and everything like that. So people were hooked on this kind of stuff, and it was more, it was real to them, you know, in a virtual reality. So it was crazy. I'm like, oh gosh. So
Oh,
it, yeah. Uh,
whoa.
so with
Oh,
metaverse, with the virtual reality going on, Is that what they're trying to, is that part of an agenda to keep people hooked up in this other virtual reality? And then I think about the hologram. Is That's kind of what we're doing now? And this just puts it, in my mind.
I know, I
It
know.
just puts it in further into the hologram. It makes us it deeper into the hologram rather than going the other way, pulling the plug on the hologram. And I mean, it's all a hologram.
Right,
But
right. Ultimately,
yeah, but
even the grids we saw through the hologram is a hologram.
right. So these people are talking about being immortal. This is how
Yeah.
you are immortal. They
Yes.
talk about that, right? And the AI people, the Elon Musk, and all these kinds of people that, putting that chip in your head and getting superpowers or whatever, I don't know, connecting you to the cloud. So as far as we're already immortal, we're already infinite. Um
Right. And so it's again, it's that false. You know what I just got like this huge like in my head
right.
is first of all, with all the gaming that's going on, they're already doing it. And it's pulling our power and our God power into that gaming that is serving whatever agenda they're doing. And I heard like clear as day, taking over other worlds. It's not just about here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like then we're lending our energy to taking over even more because that's basically the agenda.
Well, that's just like the Matrix.
Oh,
When
is it?
Neo saw through the Matrix, when they showed him when he took the red pill and he saw that Earth was actually a pile of rubble, and that and he was in that cocoon, or that where he was plugged in back
Oh,
here
the
in.
goopy, the goop thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing where
Yes.
he was in that
Yes.
reality, that false reality of a virtual reality, but he was plugged in.
And
So
he woke up like we're all
they pulled the
waking
plug, pulled the plug. The red pill pulled the plug on him.
Oh my God, Sharon. It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy. And we're sitting here talking, I mean, just for our viewers, we're talking off the cuff here.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we're talking about. But as we're
But
talking, and
do
Sharon
we?
and I, but do we? Sharon and I are so good at working with each other, and we operate on that same plane of consciousness, and just what we've kind of pulled in is absolutely fascinating because we are already whole and complete. We are already have the full power of God, whatever that is, right? The creative
Right.
force, whatever that is. That's
Mhm.
such a triggering word for people. Move beyond religion and religious programming, move to the creation. Um, and we already are that. So why does an outside force want to use that? And that's the question. Why does these people that want to chip us, why is it? Because
Right.
they love us? They want us to have fun forever and ever and ever in a game? No, we serve something that they need that they can't get for themselves.
Yeah. It's all about control.
We need to
Right. We're
think about it.
batteries.
Yeah, it's back to that
And
battery.
that's what Morpheus showed him. This is what you are. You're a battery. Remember? He showed Neo that.
No, I don't. I'll tell you what, those movies blow my mind. It took me watching the first one 5 times for me to even begin to connect into what the heck they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I was in all this stuff already 5 times. And then every once in a while, when they pop up and you have all 3 of them, are there 4 or
Mhm.
3?
I think there was 4 or
3.
5.
Oh,
I haven't
wow.
seen the new one,
Yeah, I
the
haven't seen
newest
the new one.
one. Yeah.
But usually the ones I get, they're the 3 in a row, like you can watch them over a weekend kind of thing.
Right.
And every time I watch them, it's like I've never watched it before.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like
there's
watching a
stuff.
documentary.
But the
It's
good thing is, and a lot of this too, we have to realize it is intergalactic. It's not just here.
No.
This is a way bigger hologram than we think.
Yeah. When you think about it, when creator thought about bringing experience into creator's world, because then there's that, that theory
Right.
that we are just thoughts of the creator, but how do those thoughts express? How do we express?
Right.
And how did creator, infinite intelligence, has no gender, how did infinite intelligence express wanting to experience
Right. Exactly.
all that infinite intelligence could experience?
And why? Right. It's like, why?
Yeah.
If you're whole and complete and perfect unto self, as we assume creator is, but it wanted to experience itself, but why?
Now
If
I've
it's whole
heard
and perfect
theories
unto itself.
that infinite intelligence was lonely. I don't know how that could be, but that's what I've heard.
That
And
makes
wanted
it
to,
human, right?
yeah, yeah,
Makes it human.
right,
So once
exactly.
again, we're made in the image of God.
Uh-huh.
So what's behind that?
Mm-hmm.
Who's behind that?
I
What's
know.
going on behind that? Ah!
So the great, if we look at creators like the great central sun, does the great central sun have, I mean, like a planet, have it, of course, had intelligence.
Right.
This great central sun is a sun that is heat because of the vibration, right?
The
The
frequency of the
vibration, the frequency
consciousness
is, yeah, is so freaking high that it's so hot.
that it looks like a sun. It
And we,
looks like a
yeah,
star. It looks like something. And that's what we've labeled it as in our infinite human intelligence. And it's actually God, maybe.
mhm. Some logos, some intelligence, yeah.
Yeah.
The great central sun in our galaxy as we move in. Yeshua took me to the great central sun in meditation one time, long time ago, and we moved into the sun deeper and deeper and deeper into the great central sun, and it was it was I mean, I can't even describe the
Yeah.
colors and the
Yes.
energy and the, of course he projected for me, with me, what I could relate to, like this beautiful scenic ocean and things
Mhm.
like that were beyond imagination here or anywhere. So when 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 infinite intelligence did want to start experiencing and thought about that, then infinite intelligence must have created some kind of holographic reality, because infinite intelligence is infinite intelligence.
Right. Right. And
it
I always want to get into the psychology of it. Why?
I know, right? Yeah.
Well,
Why?
I
That
have
is the
this
question.
vision and I've had
Yes.
it often where I'm walking down a hallway. So often my visions, I'm going through portal, or, I'm flying through wormholes. I'm walking down this hallway with these huge golden pillars, right? And between each pillar is a doorway. And within the doorway is is a God, right? A creator God. But I keep walking because at the end is this huge golden throne. And all I need to do is to get to the throne. Well, not too long ago, I got to the throne and this huge voice said, turn and sit in the throne. It's time. And I turned and sat in the throne. And when I looked out, it's very much of what you're talking about. The
Mm,
colors and the
mm,
vastness and the beauty and it's just like my mind. I remember in thinking in this dream vision that almost like my brain was melting, literally like melting. Something was changing in my brain.
Wow.
And the colors and the stars were so bright, and it was beyond. And then I remember knowing that this isn't even everything. This is just one small bit of everything. And it was just like, oh my God. And I think for like a week after I had that one, that I wasn't even barely functioning in this plane of existence. Because it's just, I just, my brain melted.
No drugs were involved.
And not that time either. But yeah.
Oh, I love this. It's crazy.
And
I
this
love
is
it.
part of that, that awakening experience. I think that we've gone through, we've gotten the concept of awakening. We've gotten the concept of new earth. We've gotten these concepts. And now all of a sudden, all this information and the galactic information and the holograms and all that stuff is beginning to really bubble up to those that
Right.
are ready, like all of our followers, because you're
Sure.
listening and
Sure.
you're ready. And it's time, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
And the more we wake up, and this, it's just a little reminder, the more we wake up, the more light we take in, and that can be uncomfortable sometimes. It can cause some anxiety because we're taking in light, and what it is it's raising our frequency, and it's heat.
Yep.
We can have heat flashes or whatever, but we're moving things through our biological computers here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I think it would be helpful, wouldn't it, to think of our bodies as a computer system. I think we would understand it better, perhaps.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of us, already kind of get the concept a little bit, like our minds are like computers, but the entire body is an integrated computer system, just like it's created in this perfection that it can heal.
Right.
Anything can heal. Anything can be brought back to that perfection. It's just there's distortions in the computer system, right? There's a
Right.
wire loose,
Like
or
a little
there's
virus or something.
a
Yeah.
reroute.
Or
Yeah, or a virus in the
hardware.
computer.
Hardware could be. So, is this the motherboard, or is this the motherboard?
This is the divine motherboard. This is the one that's connected in the mother of all mother.
Okay, the mother, the big mother.
But we're just learning that too,
I
right?
know. So then this would be the body motherboard. This is the divine motherboard. Okay, and this would be the earth plane motherboard.
Yeah, it
make
functions
sense?
but
No, that's not right.
yeah, because the brain also allows for that consciousness expansion that allows us to be able to experience.
However,
So maybe we're trying to make it too small.
Yes. However,
too limited.
Could it be that the brain is the earth plane motherboard as long as we work on it and expand it expands, and it's not, and I mean, our mind is not our brain, but we expand our mind. The brain is the processor. That's it. Our brain is a processor.
The processor, exactly. It's the thinker.
Yes, it's a processor.
This is the feeler.
We get our thoughts from our mind.
Yeah.
Our brain processes them.
Yes. But what is the motherboard would have to be the heart.
Yeah, I think so.
The center of it all. It's all built on that motherboard. The motherboard is the mother from which all things come.
Yes.
Even man. Sharon and I had a little chit chat before and decided that women come first. And so we're having all of the Bibles in the world. We're collecting them all, and we're having them rewritten because we're tired of this crap.
There could not be man without woman.
There could not, because man comes from women now. And so
Woman,
always
womb.
had to be
Do what?
exactly. Quit this nonsense. We are
Yeah.
the Stargate
We
for
are.
life.
We are.
Quit messing with us, man. And that's another reason wanting to take that energy.
Yeah, we see it.
Right.
We know.
We are that Stargate.
We know. And Amazonians are real.
Yes.
They did not. This is according to Dr. Delbert Blair, and he did tons of research.
Well, they were giants, right?
Yes, they were 8 feet tall.
Yep.
I understand. And I remember being an Amazon woman. I remember it. And I was so happy to hear that he was confirming that for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. He's passed on now, but he knew about what's going on now in the 90s. He talked about indoctrination. He did some there's some lectures on YouTube. Dr. Delbert Blair, really good stuff. He's amazing. Delbert Blair. Yeah.
I love that name, Delbert. It's like such a dork name, but it's like got like oomph behind it.
I know. Yeah, he's so cool. And he does a talk on man and talk on woman, a talk on the child, and the pineal gland, melanin, how we need to have melanin in our system. And that's what they've been depriving us.
Melatonin.
Melanin.
Oh, melanin.
Yeah. Melanin has to do with the skin or something. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
it does have to do with the skin.
Yeah. So I haven't seen that whole lecture. He just touched on it in one of the talks I watched. But yeah, he talks about the Amazon woman and the Utsi women, the African women. Tutsi, okay.
Yeah.
And how they too did not need a man. Did not need a man
to procreate.
To procreate. And it's crazy talk, but it's like
let there be child. And there was child, which brings us back to Mother Mary.
Oh, and he talks about that too. Yes.
Did she produce a child of her own?
What do you mean?
Well, if women can create a child within their body, was that part of what was happening there?
Oh, the light conception, or part of what he's talking about? Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it still would be, if we create life within our own body, it still comes from God, whatever your concept of that is, right?
Right.
Yeah. Because we're not bringing lifeless, soulless creatures in.
No.
We're a Stargate bringing that into our body. And I'll tell you what, I had a very dear friend had asked me to be there during the birth of their first child. And I'd never been in, I'd had children, but I'd never been in that position before. And as he came in, as Ethan came in, I saw light push down through her.
Wow.
And as he came out, I saw that light. I saw like the last bit of his spirit or his soul, like coming. I was just like, whoa. And I'm looking around, anybody in the room is like, nobody saw that. So it's not, it was something for me to see, I think, but.
That's amazing. That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. And, and there's, I think there are actual videos or videos of when a woman is pregnant, that it looks like some kind of a plasma or something, or light coming in and out.
Oh yeah.
Traveling back and forth from the womb, or from the mother, the womb to back to the spirit world.
Yeah.
I would assume,
and it's like at death. We kind of, unless we have a very rapid death, you get that coming and going too. I experienced that with my mom.
Okay.
Too. It's like you could see what she wasn't in her body, she was moving in and out. And I've had the angels explain that to me too.
Totally. Yeah, my mom did the same thing. Yeah. I think when we get to that point, we do it anyway. I mean, we do it in times of trauma as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But I wanted to say that Delbert Blair also presented actual cases, written cases about women who have, and they weren't Mother Mary or anything like that, but actual written cases of women who were able to become pregnant without a man being around.
That's amazing. Semen Watch yourselves, because we
Semen.
don't need you.
That's an interesting
Mind
way to
your
say it.
P's and Q's.
Semen. Okay.
Ah! You don't take out the trash and wash the car, you're out of here. Oh my God.
That's so funny.
Poor men. We love them.
Of course we do.
We love them.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, interesting.
I know. I thought that was amazing. Yeah.
There's so much we don't know. I know something that I've been getting really caught up in is Tartaria, the
Mhm.
giants again, right?
Oh yeah.
They have pictures. And scientists are like, oh no, there were no giants. They have freaking pictures.
I've seen a photo recently of a huge skull that they've unearthed somewhere. I didn't
Another one.
look at it, the whole thing, but yeah.
Yep.
Huge skull.
Yeah.
And
And
you
then
can
it
tell
brings,
it's a skull.
yeah. I mean, it's like, hello. And then it brings you back to, well, how did they build the pyramids? Well, maybe the giants did it. Right? You have a giant that's like picks up a 30-ton block like it's a Lego.
I know,
Gonna make that
right?
pyramid building pretty darn easy, isn't it?
Yeah, what gets me about the pyramids, a lot of them, is how um how intricate they are and their degree, their the
Yes.
mathematical way that they're constructed is just beyond what we could even imagine, and how they're just so precise
Yeah.
with their
Yeah.
construction, and how some of them, I think it's a Great Pyramid, I'm not sure how the some kind of mathematical equation of it matches.
The circumference of the earth.
Yeah, thank you. The planet.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's some intelligence stuff. And we're supposed to believe, they built that thing with tree trunks and ropes.
Slave labor. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah.
think so either. I'm pretty sure, that didn't happen. And you just see some of the sculptures and those great big huge, I've been looking at the temple of Dendara, which is the Hathor temple. And they
Mm.
have these great big huge statues. They're massive. They didn't do that with hammers and chisels.
I know, right?
That
Crazy.
technology. And where did it go? What happened?
Reset. It was one of the resets that we went through on the planet. I think we've been through a lot of resets.
I want to know.
Yeah,
Because
Atlantis was a reset.
Atlantis was a reset. And it seems to me that, and Noah was a reset,
was
which
a
could have been
reset.
Atlantis,
It could have
right?
been
Could have
Atlantis.
been the same thing.
I think it was, yeah.
But there also, it seems like, because I've been studying this mud flood thing and this Tartaria,
Yes, yeah.
there's been one in the last 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Because
totally.
there's all these buildings, especially all over Europe, but here too, but not quite as much. I think we had more than Native American beings here here in the United States. But of these buildings that are sunk into the ground.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
And they're
right.
all over the place.
Right.
And buildings like that they sunk down, and then a window was turned into a door.
Right.
And then they have basements, is where the
That
kitchen and
should be the
living room
first
used
floor.
to be.
Yeah.
right? And all over the place. What happened to that information? Why isn't that in the Bible?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it was the 1800s where in the history of the world, not history, the history of the world uncovered, I think is the name of the video, and it's on YouTube. That shows pictures of that in the 1800s in the US, with the buildings sunk down and the mud, apparently it looks like mud or dirt up against the windows. And there's photos of nobody on the streets, nobody nobody on the streets. And then all of a sudden they're producing photos where there's people walking around, there's people on the streets again.
And it's like, what the heck happened?
Yeah. And it's not like they're photos that are taken on a regular basis, the
Right.
ones where there's nobody on the streets. one or two, or that they found in research, where there's nobody on the streets. It's crazy.
Yeah. And
And
it
that's
had
just the
to,
1800s.
yeah. And also you look at what else was happening in the 1800s. We just got done with the whole American Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then having something like that, then moving into the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. What it's like there's no that doesn't make sense.
No,
It doesn't make sense at all.
A lot
What
of it
the
doesn't.
hell happened?
Yeah, that's part of our history we've been lied to for so long.
Or did we jump timelines?
Oh, yeah, there
Right?
you go.
Did we move through Stargate? Did some of us move through the timeline that we're on now? You know?
Or have we been kept back from actually progressing, and time has been, like you said, messed with.
Yeah. Which CERN is
Right.
supposedly able to do that.
Yeah. Starfire Tor, who I came across many years ago, I know you have to go here in a minute or two. Starfire Tor is her name, and when I used to follow her a long time ago on a group that she started, she let us know what to look for when there's a time when the
Ooh.
the dark deep state or whatever it is messing with our timeline. Little, just like in the Matrix, little blips in time, just like you see a black cat and then all of a sudden the black cat's gone in the hallway, like in the Matrix.
Yeah.
She said, look for those little blips, and that tells you that our timeline is being messed with.
Well, there have been people talking about like the book Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Used to be Berenstein, that was Berenstain.
The
or
Mandela
whatever
effect.
Yeah, the Mandela effect. That's
Right.
timeline blips.
Yeah.
And it's happening. People are noticing it. There was one too. There was a guy that it was probably a TikTok thing, which I got off of because it's so addicting, but was talking about, like, he brought up a bunch of them. It was, I clearly remember the old way and the new way. It's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like so many of us are actually living in that, live through that blip.
So I know, but so does that mean that as we're moving along, moving up, do we get sidetracked? Do they meaning, and I'm not talking about the good guys, perhaps, or there could be some good guys that, that move us along a different direction if we're going down the wrong path, right? Who knows? But if our timeline is being manipulated, and let's just say, for conversation's sake, we're moving up the scale of the timeline, and we're waking up and that kind of thing. People are waking up, more and more people are waking up. Things are going really well, and things are being brought to the surface of what's going on in the world. And think about, I mean, could it be possible that the beings would, if they know how to do this, could hijack that timeline and move us into a timeline where we're not moving up, where people are not waking up.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because with the Keylontic sciences, there is a thing where, our Merkaba, which is our light body, at some point in the not too far past, was taken off its axis. So it's tilted so that we don't have direct access. It's tilted.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they mess with stuff like that because that's how the universe works. And there's a whole thing about the 369 that Tesla talked about too. Mm-hmm. If we understood that.
Yeah.
And all that stuff is what's coming up. It's like what you're reading with Toth. Mm-hmm. It all ties in together.
Yeah. But if we do you ever feel like you keep repeating things?
Yes.
Groundhog's Day.
Why stop dating?
I know. So if they're manipulating timelines, and to where they can't, obviously can't make it so drastic that we notice, right? So if they're manipulating it to where we just have to keep repeating these same types of scenarios, then it would take a long time for
Yeah.
us to wake up.
You know, it's funny. I'm having a picture of them manipulating the scenario. It's like when you have a ladybug and it's walking, and then you put your finger, and then it's walking, and then you put the same finger in front of it,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
it's walking. We're doing it to the ladybugs.
yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, is this a timeline blip? But if you think about it on a teeny tiny micro scale, it's kind of the same thing.
That's awful. We're not gonna do that to ladybugs anymore.
Ever again. Oh my God, this has been so fun. You know, it's
That's always
fun. We're moving into interesting conversations here on New Earth
yeah.
Rising. And so we're so excited for our followers.
Yeah, totally. And I was getting, as we were talking about the timeline manipulations, that those beings have been taken out.
Oh, they're not here anymore.
They're not. That's what I'm getting.
We'll take them all out, whoever took them out.
Yeah.
Show them the freaking door.
Yeah. So I don't believe that is happening any longer. People are waking up too quickly, I believe. And so they can't manipulate that anymore with the galactics that are helping our planet. It's like we can't, it's time. It's time.
Well, and there's all these intergalactic alignments that are coming up that is supposed to be our exit door.
Sure.
You know, it's
we
like
can't help it.
No. And with all this information and everything coming up, it indicates very strongly that the ascension is nigh. Is it going to happen overnight? No. A lot of people are like, bam, I'm in the fifth dimension. It doesn't work that way.
You know? Yeah. And Delbert Blair, and he was bringing this information out. These lectures I was looking at, watching, is 1994. So, you know, this has been coming out for a while.
Yeah. And the ascension's been happening for a while, at least since 2012, like really powerfully. But absolutely before that.
Or the 80s, from ever since the harmonic convergence, I think.
The convergence. Yeah, I was just going to say that. We've been in it for a while, peeps.
Yep. All right.
So what do you think? What do you people think? Let us know. Because we're tiptoeing into strange territory in this show, and we love it, and we want you to love it too, but we want to know what you're doing. What are you thinking? What do you have to contribute?
Yeah.
Let's make this a conclave.
A what?
I don't know how to say the word conclave.
Oh, God.
But I like conclave.
Conclave.
It sounds fancy. Conclave.
Like gendarme. Okay. Let's do it.
We're so happy you're here. You guys subscribe. You can find Sharon. She's got a website and everything. We got the details down below. You can find me, details down below, a little bit about us, all of our contact information, websites, classes, social media. It's all there.
Yes.
And contact us. Let us know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you haven't subscribed yet. I understand that when you like a video, it sends algorithms out that bring in more people. So
yeah, bring them in.
That would be nice if you like the video.
Give them one of these.
I know, right? All right. Mwah.
Love you guys. Mwah.
Bye.
Do 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 do.